Spiritual Life Center, transforming lives as we love, serve, and remember who we are. One heart, one mind, one soul at a time.
Hello, we are Soul Light Connection. We are the core of the music ministry here at Spiritual Life Center. We're so glad that you've chosen to be with us today. And we want you to know your soul is welcome here.
That's right, you're in the right place at the right time, just where you are meant to be. Let's all sing about it. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. My soul is welcome. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the Spiritual Life Center experience that we bring to you wherever you might be on the planet today. We're grateful for your presence as we remind one another we are always and shall always be interconnected. We shall always be one in the Spirit. You know, we have people across the planet who view our services from time to time. And I'd like to acknowledge at least one of the places outside of the United States where people happen to tune in to our program. And today I'd like to acknowledge our friends in Brazil. Thank you for connecting with us, and know that you are blessed and a magnificent blessing to our planet. At this time, let us take a few moments to commune with the presence and the power and the love of pure spirit. We do so in prayer, which we know is the language of spirit, so we can affirm our realization of our oneness with everyone across the planet. So let's take that time now to tune in. Divine presence, it is within you that we live and move and have our very beingness in. and as we allow ourselves to remove any hindrances or blockages of our oneness with this presence, we see with clear eyes the truth of who and what we are, expressions of our Creator, here to radiate and distribute all the qualities of love and peace and joy and wisdom everywhere that we go. And as we radiate these qualities, not only are we uplifted to where we can be as expressions of this presence, we also do our part to uplift our entire world. And for this, we're grateful and thankful. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Each week we affirm our mission statement, and I seek to do that right now, and I invite you to join in with me. We transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we implement and live out the 5 basic unity principles. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Deborah Phillips, and I'm here to let you know what's happening next at SLC. This week on Discovering Spirit Within, my good friend Carol Knight, who is a popular yoga teacher here in Sacramento at Fusion Yoga Studio, joined me for a conversation about overcoming negativity. She wanted to know why, when something happens, even the most positive of us will lean towards catastrophic thinking. Carol is so open and candid about her efforts to use New Thought techniques and has such a great sense of humor about her humanness. We had a great time. This episode is available now on your favorite podcast app.
Hi, my name is Frank Casterweir, and I'm a Unity ministerial student currently interning at Spiritual Life Center. We want to invite you to a ceremony that we're calling Light and Loss, Moments to Remember. It's going to be December 9th, that's a Wednesday, on Zoom at 7:00 p.m. You know, 2020 has been a year, I think we all can agree, pretty full of challenges and full of a lot of things that we've lost due to the pandemic and other challenges in our life. We've lost opportunities to be with family, celebrations, graduations, travel, maybe even jobs and opportunities. And for some people, the loss has even been of loved ones and of things very important to them. We're coming into a time of celebration of lights. We're in the middle of Advent, and we're coming up on Christmas and Hanukkah and winter solstice celebrations where we want to celebrate the light. But we want to invite you to come in maybe first and take a moment and celebrate the loss and to honor it and to bless it and to hold all these things we've lost in our hearts so that then we can allow them to transform us and open our hearts and show us a transformative path forward in compassion. So please join us December 9th, Wednesday night at 7 on a Zoom. I'll be leading the service and Cameron Lawson will be providing the music. And we hope to see you then. Light and loss, moments to remember. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Our Jingle Mingle Bingo is right around the corner on December 12th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Decorate a holiday stocking, fix a warm drink, and some holiday goodies, and then print out your bingo cards and you are ready to have some Jingle Mingle fun. You can include your family and friends, and there are prizes for each bingo winner and the best decorated stocking. Bingo cards will be emailed to those who register, and you'll need to print out your cards at home to play along. If you're not able to receive email or to print out your bingo cards, you may choose to have one copy of your bingo cards mailed to you. The mailing deadline is Monday, December 7th, so register for your Jingle Mingle Bingo today.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jose Zambrano. I am the community outreach for the Orangevale Fair Oaks Food Bank. And at the Orangevale Fair Oaks Food Bank, our motto is neighbors helping neighbors. On behalf of everyone at the food bank, I would like to sincerely thank you so much for your donation and your passion for helping those in need. As we all know, the COVID-19 virus has impacted millions of American families, and local food banks are struggling to meet those needs. At the Orangevale Fair Oaks Food Bank, we have seen over 350% increase in the numbers of families needing our services since the pandemic, and the numbers continue to rise. Words are inadequate for expressing our thankfulness to you. Because of your leadership and generosity, many families will be able to provide food for their loved ones. To put it into perspective, your $1,000 donation will help feed 40 families for a month. So with that, 40 families who are facing food insecurities will be able to provide or put food on their family tables. As someone who experienced food insecurity growing up, I am humbled and moved by your heart. Our thankfulness is rooted in the special care donors like you who help us provide fresh food, resource, and hope to families in our communities. I want to sincerely and gratefully thank Spiritual Life Center and everyone who extended their good-hearted hands to the Orangevale Fair Oaks Food Bank.
And we love to greet our newcomers. While we cannot greet you in person, we want you to know that we are very happy that you're with us as you walk your unique path. You can learn more about us by going to slcworld.org/connect. And when you fill out the online card, you can choose to receive our weekly message, find opportunities for connecting with our prayer chaplains and online small groups. You can also ask to be notified of greater ways to connect with us as we expand our online community. And speaking of connecting, you can find details for all the happenings at SLC by simply going to our website, slcworld.org. Thank you for joining us today. We are honored to be with you in spirit.
Hello, I'm Sherry Rain, the Prayer Chaplain Program Coordinator. I'm here to introduce your prayer chaplains in this virtual dedication. I want to welcome our new chaplains and thank all the chaplains who have served over the last year. And what a year it has been. I especially want to thank you, dear chaplains, for your love, patience, flexibility, and perseverance through all our adjustments and evolutions. You just kept saying yes, and I am so grateful for each of you. Being a prayer chaplain is a beautiful act of service. We are here with you during life's most precious times. We remind you that all is well when you've forgotten, reflecting divine light as it shines in you, as you. We offer a moment of peace through the storms and hold sacred consciousness for life's greatest unfoldings. Prayer support is available to you whether you are tuning in locally or from afar. We are available to pray with you at our virtual courtyard on Sundays and also reach out with wellness contacts. Did you fill out your survey? If not, you can find it on our website. All prayers are confidential, and our prayer chaplains commit to 1 year of sacred service, holding the high watch for SLC and our congregants. We prepare for this service with approximately 60 hours of training and service throughout the year, strengthening our own spiritual practice and coming together as a family in the process. Our chaplains commit to the following service: a spiritual journey based on love and prayer to support the congregation and ministry, knowing God is ever present, to hold SLC in loving, confidential prayer throughout the next year. So I am honored now to present your SLC Prayer Chaplain family as we sing in celebration.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who live in loneliness, my love shall mend. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, where you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and rain, I have felt my people's pain. I will set a feast for them, all to attend. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, where you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
Thank you. What a blessing it is to serve with this amazing group of souls.
Lord, Satana, a holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home.
Hariom, dear Lord, Satanom, holy name. When I call on the light
holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home.
Hari Om, dear Lord, Satanom, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home.
I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within.
Hari Om, dear Lord, Satanom, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home.
Hari Om,
Hari Om,
dear Lord,
dear Lord,
Satanam,
Satanom,
the holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. There's Buddha, Mana, Allah too, Jehovah, Brahma, and the true Guru, Jesus, Moses, and Vishnu, Krishna, Raman, and the God in you. Peace on earth, goodwill to all. The time has come for us to stand tall. Call on the light that shines within. Call on the light within. Call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. Call on the light within. Call on the light within. Call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. Call on the light within. Call on the light within. Call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. Call on
At Spiritual Life Center, we affirm there is power in the spoken word. If it feels comfortable doing so, I invite you to speak aloud our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
In me, live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. Give of your goodness, conquer the darkness, Spirit of light and love, Spirit. In me, live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. Give of your goodness, conquer the darkness, Spirit of light and love, Spirit, in me. Give through me, speak through me, move through me, love through me, oh Spirit, in me, oh Spirit, in me.
As we take this time to become quiet and centered, take a deep breath and allow yourself to relax. Take another breath and feel Spirit move in and through you. Become aware of that special energy working in every part of your body. Spirit is in you, and you feel lighter and lighter until you fairly float up and up until you come to the doors of an enormous darkened temple. Stepping through the open doors, you can see a few people in the shadows, but you get the sense that the temple is filled with people. Those near you are huddled together in fear or standing apart, alone in the shadows. Taking this in, you raise your head, looking toward a ceiling shrouded in night, and you say a prayer. Oh, Holy Spirit, bring your light to these people so that they may be relieved of fear and loneliness. Amen. From somewhere, a small light appears, tiny at first, then growing larger and larger until all of you see a magnificent light being descend and come to rest beside a man standing alone. The light being touches the man, and he is transformed before your eyes. His body becomes almost clear, and his heart is filled with flames, but is not consumed. The light fills his entire body, and he appears to be made of light. And now the light being approaches one of the huddled groups and moves right through them, leaving them clear and light-filled, with hearts shining like the sun. Except for one person who, out of fear, moved away just in time to avoid being touched by the light being. And now the light being approaches you, and you extend your hand, and the light being embraces you. You are filled with an incredible sensation as its energy moves through your body and mind, transforming you into a holy light that shines like the sun. And then the light being moves throughout the temple, touching people, turning on their lights, healing and calming them. You are so full, so calm, so clear that without thinking, you move to where that lone person stands, thinking to comfort her. As you approach, she reaches out to greet you. You touch her hand. Light floods her body and mind, and her heart comes alive as fire. She is healed. Fear has fled. Others witness this and begin to seek out others who are alone or fearful, igniting their hearts. And all of you realize that this light is the Christ light, which is within you and which you can share with the entire world. Now, the temple is quiet and serene, and you accept and give thanks for the gift of this Christ light shining within you in the silence. The temple is suffused with a soft light. Quietly, you and the others begin to make your way toward the temple door. The light being slowly rises, and just before melting into the dark above says, "O my beloved, the Christ light shines on your path. It brings you peace. It comforts you. It shows you how to serve each other. It is a gift to your world. It is and ever will be your light. Remember this always."
Longing for light, we wait in darkness. Longing for truth, we turn Rise be our love.
When we hear those words, Christ be our light, and let that light shine in each soul on earth today, we're reminded that there are great moments in the history of the world when a prophet or an avatar appears with a great cosmic insight. And that avatar is able to impart it to people with a persuasive power and a beauty. There are great moments in the lives of individuals when they come face to face to such an insight, when it becomes clear and convincing to them. But such an insight in truth must not only be spoken, but to have authority, to have gravitas, it must be lived by the person who utters it. And then it becomes a transforming power in the daily lives of the people who work with it. Just as a figure was a man we call Jesus the Christ. He had a transcendent message he brought to the world. It's what we can call, that new revelation of truth. Although it wasn't new, it was new to those folks at the time. And remind ourselves from time to time, because it bears repeating, that the Christ is not Jesus' last name. It is that part of God within each and every one of us. It is also within you and me. It's not something that is expressed through any particular religion. It is a principle that transcends all religious traditions. And during these holiday season, it seems to rise, the tide seems to raise up the consciousness. As people observe Hanukkah, and others observe the festival of the breaking of the fast in the Muslim tradition, or still others practice Kwanzaa in the African American community. And all of us who follow the teachings of Jesus, we celebrate this principle called the Christ during this season. And the celebration serves as a reminder of our possibilities. And the master teacher, Jesus, was a model of those possibilities. He shined through that Christ like few have done before or since him, in my view. But he also reminded us of this key phrase. Everything he's done, we can do that and more. We can do that and more. As I'm thinking about the great master, I'm reminded of a story that I hear from time to time during this time of the year as we get closer to Christmas. And it's about the time that children were in a Sunday school. And the Sunday school teacher decided to ask everybody in the class, where is Jesus in their life? And one little girl raised her hand and said, "Oh, Jesus is in my heart. Whenever I'm loving, Jesus is with me." And the teacher was very pleased to hear that and turned to the second little boy in the class, and asked, "Well, where's Jesus for you?" And said, "Well, Jesus shows up when I'm giving and when I'm helping other people." And of course, the teacher was very pleased to hear this answer as well. And then the teacher went to the third person in the class. There's a little boy, and you may know him. He was little Johnny. And when he asked little Johnny, "Well, where is Jesus in your house or in your life?" And the little boy, Johnny, said to the teacher, "Well, Jesus is in my bathroom." And of course, the teacher was somewhat baffled by this question, by his answer. He said, "What do you mean, Jesus is in your bathroom?" He said, "Yeah, because every time my sister is in the bathroom, my father comes knocking on the door and he says, 'Jesus Christ, are you still in there?'" Well, understand that Jesus exemplified the Christ principle. And the reason for the season. And when we're in alignment with that principle, we move into the topic of the day of transcending tradition and experiencing the reason for the season. It's important to know that Jesus taught a universal truth. Now, his followers made it into a Christian religion. As an aside, this is just me talking. I have to believe that if Jesus were here today, he would probably be a leader of a religion without ritual. He would have spirituality without ecclesiasticism. He might well view all of these churches and communities that are started in his name with all of their dogma and form and ceremony and ritual as somewhat strange to him. He might even say, maybe we should just start all over. Just a thought. Nevertheless, this month, the month of December, as we enter Advent, on a collective level, and maybe even more so because of the challenges that we're facing today with the pandemic, the political polarization, as well as all the other divides we witness around the world, it's an opportunity for people to move into the consciousness in which forgiveness and love and generosity and well-being becomes more of the order of the day. There seems to be more of a longing for this, whether people know it or not. And it's a wonderful thing, this what I call high tide of human consciousness that seems to be evolving despite of or because of the crises that we face. It's rising up to this eternal gift, the gift of the eternal. It is the gift that keeps on giving. And we're always touching upon this theme in some way, shape, or form. We're touching upon this awareness that there is a great power, a presence all of us are representing, particularly when we are awake, when we're conscious. We realize there's a light, there's a love, there's a joy, there's a power, there's something not bound by time at all. It is eternal. It is a gift of itself. And as each and every one of us, we come to places like this or tune into programs like this to practice the principles of truth, to be reminded of these principles in order to release this dynamic energy, to release this poise, to release this confidence, to release this peace, to release this resurrecting power that we all have. That our life not be lived in vain. That's why we do it. That our life may be lived according to a sacred divine pattern and the particular reason why we've chosen this particular incarnation at this particular time in history. Now, I talked to some people, they said, no, they didn't really sign up for this. But yes, we did. We might want to try to get out of it, but no, we came here for this purpose and for this particular time. And regardless of our focus, regardless of our cultural background, regardless of our experience, regardless how we worship, or as we like to say, how we celebrate, this presence is celebrated by us. And the outer symbology may not be the same, but the inner meaning, no matter what our path is the same. It's about connecting to that spiritual essence we all are. I was reading something by the Dalai Lama, and he said, our shared mission, should we choose to accept it, is to find common ground among the spiritual paths and bridge the needless divides at a time when unified action is more crucial than ever. We must embrace the oneness of humanity as we face the challenges of our day. Now, to get there, we must come from our common essence. And this common essence is known by many names. Today we call it the Christ. Others may call it the Atman presence, the Buddhic mind. Some call it the inner divinity. I like to call it the force. The outer ceremony and the language may not be the same, but the inner meaning is identical. The gift of this eternal presence is the message that we want to get to. And for us to get there, we must recognize its transcendent yet immediate presence. In other words, it's around us, but also within us. It is beyond denomination. It's beyond ceremony. It's beyond tradition. And I don't put tradition or ceremony down. You know, even here at Spiritual Life Center, we have wonderful ceremonies. Upcoming is our candlelight service and other programs, although it's going to be virtual this year. We have the burning bowl ceremony, which is my favorite ceremony of all. All of these ceremonies are ways to speak to the unconscious that words cannot reach. But like myself, many of you may be refugees from traditions that have lost their flavor. And therefore have fled from tradition in order to find a way and means and method for our life to be a moment-by-moment celebration of our real nature and our being. So we go beyond tradition, so we can cultivate the ability to develop the impulse to be more ourselves, our true selves. And you may be asking, how in the heck do we do this? As I like to say, there's no definitive, step 1, step 2, step 3 process. I like to believe that all these how-tos that we get spiritually, mostly they're made up. Our attention must be on mostly the Christ presence, that God presence, because the presence of God will come through us, articulate itself through us fluently and in ways that we will understand when we make that connection. But I'll present, some ideas, because this is practical spirituality. So we look for some roadmap, some techniques that we can use. But all of those things, all they do is keep our ego busy until the whole Spirit of God takes over our life. So Jesus and other avatars have given us some wonderful guidelines to follow. All of these teachers taught universal truth. And they put a great deal of emphasis on our inner life, not necessarily the outside symbols, because they know the great law of hermeneutics that says, as within, so without. Understanding that thoughts that roll through our awareness and that stick have a tendency to become our perception, have a tendency to become our attitude, have a tendency to become our emotions. And they in turn determine our experience, our lot in life, the amount of good that pours forth through us. It is the inner thoughts and beliefs, not the external circumstances and situations, that are important. So this high holy season, we have the opportunity to set a tone, to set that inner thought process by setting an intention, and creating an interest for ourselves, for the good of God and for each other. Intention is important. Recently I was running across a story about a young man. He had emigrated from Haiti, and his name is Alex. And Alex and his family, they didn't have very much. But when Alex was growing up in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, he remembers watching troops from the United States performing humanitarian missions in his native Haiti. They had a number of earthquakes and other disasters during that time. And he was touched by this. This really moved him. And in that moment, he had the vision of going to West Point Academy and then doing something similar to others that those soldiers had done for him. And if you looked at his life experience from afar, it looked impossible. He had little money to go to schools that would prepare him for such a rigorous education as West Point had. He didn't come from what we would call the right background. And from all objective perspectives, the odds were against him. But he held that vision. And to make a long story short, he worked his way to the point that he got in one of the most prestigious military schools after he came to the United States. He earned his citizenship, and he served a number of years as a National Guardsman. But what stood out about him when I first came across the story was the picture. The picture with his name under it, Second Lieutenant Alex Edrachi. He stood at attention. He was at his commencement ceremony at West Point in New York, and he was overcome with tremendous emotion. Tears had rolled down both of his cheeks. His gloved hand was holding firm to his black cover, which they call, I guess, the hats, the headgear that they wear, that the cadets, walk around in their formal uniform. And I could look at him and tell that at that moment everything was pouring out of him because he held on to an intention that was bigger than what he was, an intention that helped others. And that intention manifested in his life. It was very moving just to look at the picture. I say that because intention is a decision of releasing life energy. And when we establish an intention from our soul, from our heart, and we make that inner pact with ourselves, we release that life energy as well. And this life energy allows what we intend to manifest. And it doesn't matter the circumstances or the situation. It doesn't matter what our history is. It doesn't matter what has happened to us or how we were born or who we were born to. Regardless of all of that, when we have established a whole soul intention to be here for the presence and the power and the love of God more than anything else, we become available to the inspired thoughts of spirit. Those inspired thoughts that proliferate this universe till we are one with it. We are embodying that. And know that which sticks. Know that which congeals as emotion and perception has the tendency to reveal that which we have intended to happen. Jesus set his intention for his life to have the mind of the Christ presence, to have that mind inundate his whole being. And as a result, that is what he became. Often people move through life catching the highly charged thought forms and emotions that move through the human experience, the low vibration stuff. They don't have an opinion of their own that comes from the Spirit of living God. They have no thoughts that really originate from this presence. They end up parroting the human experience, and they wonder why life does not reveal the dynamic good that is promised. But we understand that people who live extraordinary lives, no matter who they are, it could be Jesus the Christ, it could be, any great person in history, someone that that does extraordinary things around you that no one knows about. They're ordinary people, but what they do have are extraordinary thought practices. And we are here to expand our perception. We're here to expand our point of view. And oftentimes this requires a slight shift in our own perception. Jesus had that intention to move away from how life around him was showing up. And he set his intention when he said, I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. We can set the same kind of intention for ourselves. Because we are here to establish an intention to realize our oneness with God, to realize our oneness with divine peace, to set an intention to have divine love and pure joy and bliss and wisdom and all the qualities that have nothing to do with whatever is going on around us. We can tap into that, and we do tap into that when we are in this season. These qualities are transcendent, as I said, yet immediate. They're always available. And we can throw ourselves open and make ourselves available to them when we establish our own intention, when we make a decision to choose to release ourselves to this presence. And when we do, we are anchoring ourselves in the will of God, which is a greater expression of pure spirit. You know, when we hear the seasonal songs, the Christmas songs, there's something that begins to activate something within our spirit. It's part of our DNA. It begins to set forth our own intentions that are really there for us. And when we begin to live those intentions, they become the rudder that leads and guides and directs us through our life. There is intention, and of course, similarly, there is interest. Interest is what keeps us pure. In other words, we can ask ourselves throughout the course of the day, what am I really interested in this moment? You know, one of the things we can do is just have an alarm on our phone and just have it go off every couple of hours just to capture what's in our minds. What are we focusing on? What are we interested in? And if we are awake, we will sometimes recognize there's maybe sometimes an inner war going on between the unspiritualized ego. I call it unspiritualized because everyone has to have an ego to live, but we want to spiritualize it. And sometimes we have the unspiritualized ego running us. And maybe there's a war between the unspiritualized ego and the spirit and the surface mind. And the surface mind will want what it wants when it wants it. But the deeper dimension of our soul will want more to reveal itself. And when what it wants to reveal is more of that Christ presence, more of this Atman energy, more of this spiritual God presence. So if you ask yourself, what am I interested in this moment? We can check ourselves and determine if this moment, am I interested in love? Am I interested in kindness? Am I interested in compassion? Am I interested in generosity? Am I interested in beauty? Am I interested in being more my real self, which is this Christ presence? This is what the high holy days of the season is about. It's about that as opposed to being interested in being right. You may know people like that. They want to be right. They want to be understood rather than seeking to understand or trying to make their point, trying to prove their point or my point or your point. This time of the year or any time for that matter, we want to check our interest and keep it pure and ask, is my intention here for the presence of God? Or am I interested in getting an ego need met? Or getting what I want in this particular moment, thus moving into the human experience that's fraught with worry, that's fraught with doubt, that's fraught with fear, that's fraught with lack and limitation, and we'll see a lot of evidence to support that. But when our intention is on the qualities of the divine, which is the reason for this high holy day season, our interest is pure. It becomes our anchor. It becomes our rudder. And what's wonderful about this, when we make this our anchor, when we make this the ground of our being, we may think thousands of thoughts a day, thoughts that just roll through our awareness, thoughts that just seem to move from the news or the internet or from some past conversations that we've had that are not serving us, or maybe some old patterns will seem to well up. Sometimes we have a little fear or a little doubt around that. And we may say to ourselves, if thought is creative, which it is, and it produces itself after its own kind, is this going to show up as my life? All of this crazy thought that I have that's moving through my awareness, is it going to manifest? Is it going to happen to me? Now, if you're honest, you probably may think that at some times, but of course I do at times. Let me just speak for myself. I can't speak for you. But of course, the answer is no. What has the tendency to stick and congeal itself as our perception, as our emotion, and ultimately our experience is that which we are predominantly interested in throughout the day. If we train ourselves to be interested in the will of God, if we train ourselves to be interested in that which is spiritual, doing our meditation, reading our books, affirming our prayers, if we're interested in the transcendent qualities of the force, if that becomes important to us, and we keep checking ourselves throughout the day to make sure that we're on course, and we seek to get back on track by asking, what am I interested in right now? And we continue to put our attention on the inspired qualities of the Spirit of the living God, on the Christ presence, we will understand what Jesus the Christ meant when he said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." And that simply means when we're interested in harmony with the wholeness of God, we shall see the presence of God. And that is not a person, it's not a man or a woman, it is a principle, it is a force, it is the Christ that is manifesting as those qualities. And we will see that through our interest and through our intention, where we're focusing our thoughts, that's what will stick as our attitude. That's what will stick as our emotion, and that's what will stick as our life. And our world will be transformed by the renewing of our individual and our collective mindset. I say that's what the holy days are about. It's about an awakened consciousness. That's what the Spirit of the living God is inviting us to celebrate the Christ presence, to celebrate our divinity, to celebrate the Shekinah of the soul like never before. By claiming this as our life, we will get this gift of the eternal. It is the gift of the holy season. It is the grace of God that we can't make happen, but through practice, through our spiritual intention, to be here for the presence of God more than anything else. We eliminate the obstacles. We eliminate the sense of separation, so this divine flow can continue to happen over and over and over again. We're reminded that of each season that comes around this time of the year. We're reminded that we are here to be part of that divine flow. It is a flow that transcends any tradition or anything we humanly have created. It is the truth of our being. And from that truth, we realize the reason for the season. And as we do realize that, we too shall sing, "Christ be our light. Shine in our hearts. Shine through the darkness. Shine in each soul today." Peace and blessings to you. Well, thank you for being part of our service today, in which we were reminded that the reason for the season goes beyond any particular tradition. It aims to remind us of our true essence as expressions of the one God, the one force that governs the universe. Next Sunday, my talk is Remember Your Identity Clause, as we continue through these high holy days. So right now, this is your opportunity to help Spiritual Life Center continue to provide these spiritual experiences, not just what we do on Sunday, but our weekly podcasts, our prayer and meditation classes, as well as other transformational programs that take place throughout the week. So I invite you to support Spiritual Life Center with your donation or gift, and to give what you can. It makes a difference and is highly appreciated. You can give by texting SLC Love to 44321. That's SLC Love to 44321. Or go to our website, slcworld.org, click the Donate tab, and give in other ways as well. So with that, I invite you to join in and say our offertory blessing with me. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
We'd like to close the service today with a little holiday cheer, play a familiar Christmas tune, along with some lyrics written by our very own Spiritual Life Center jingle maestro, R.J. Bullen.
Light the world, that's the reason to believe this holy season. We are beautiful lights, we're loving tonight, walking in a wondrous wonderland. Gone away is division, here on earth, creating heaven, where the Christian or Jew, Druid, Buddhist, Hindu, walking in a wondrous wonderland. At the center we will build a family and light the world for every girl and boy. I'll say, are you ready? You'll say yes. And we will build the world with so much joy. We gather here to conspire. The many ways we will inspire. We are beautiful lights in service tonight, walking in a wondrous wonderland. At the center we will build a family and light the world for every girl and boy. I'll say, are you ready? You'll say yes. And we will build the world with so much joy. Throughout the year we aspire to fulfill our heart's desire. We are beautiful lights, remembering tonight, walking in a oneness wonderland.
With that, let us go and say together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it
Spiritual Life Center.